Dez custom fit mouth guards. It's 3 rounds of action in the welterweight division of the FCC. So introducing first, hiding out of the blue corner, he enters the cage with a mixed martial arts record of 1 victory and 1 defeat, representing Nottingham MMA. And his opponent standing across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. He enters tonight with a mixed martial arts record of 5 victories and 2 defeats, representing Sparta MMA, Dez Parker. Your referee in charge the action is to Mick Clement.
Referee Mick Clement's about to get this one underway. Brad Wharton and Josh Palmer calling the action here at FCC 13 at the Bolton Macron. It's Carl, the Bomber Booth, in the black and red, taking on Dez, the arm collector Parker, in the white and black. Parker fought just 8 days ago, Josh. A quick TKO win in the first round. He was fresh. He's had a lot of time out of the cage and he was keen to get back on. Yeah, but what a test for him in Carl Booth. You and I have seen firsthand what happens when Carl Booth times a right hand. Silenced 2,000 screaming Jordanians with 1 punch did Carl Booth, looking to throw big shots already. Here is the Bomber. Booth traces his striking lineage back to the halcyon days of the Rough House, the likes of Dan Hardy and Paul Daly. It was a good technical combination from him, but unfazed, and Parker searching for that single leg. Booth with a nice elbow there. Parker doggedly chasing this takedown though. Huge elbows from Carl Booth, keeping Parker honest. He's got to put a little bit of an arc on them just to ensure they stay legal. But Parker's done the hard part of connecting here. So let's see if he can put him on the ground. Good job of stripping the leg out. Booth incredibly athletic, incredibly fast and powerful. Parker's going to be wanting to close that gap. We've seen Parker strike with guys before, but you've got to think common sense would dictate in this situation. Close the gap, get your man to the ground, and work those judo purple belt skills. Yeah, I mean, he wore his purple belt to the cage. You got to figure that lays down some sort of intention. Could be gamesmanship, but he's eating a few shots in the process here, but staying very well connected. At some point, though, he's going to have to make this attempt pay off. Watch for Booth to strike on the break if he manages to get a significant enough frame in. Knee could be coming up here. Well, gives up the double underhooks. And Parker's got to get his head in the game here. What I mean by that is get the head positioning. Get your forehead on the guy's chin. You've got double underhooks. So huge opportunity to put a bend in his spine and really break his posture down. And Parker not doing that at the moment. For the moment at least though, Parker keeping Booth out of that striking range from which he has done so much damage over the years. He can shock and go to the back here if he gets a chance, but I imagine Booth will be rotating around back to his left. There you go, see Shucks goes to the back. Good work from Parker. And this is exactly what we saw with Parker's last fight just 8 days ago. Taking the back position like that, in that situation he was able to get the takedown and pound out a TKO victory, not having as much luck here. See, the thing is, Carl Booth, you've got to make it pay. As soon as you've done the hard part of clearing under that armpit and around that shoulder and you've got the tight grip at the back, you've got to make it pay, because it's so easy for guys to put their back on the cage and scrape you off again. Both these young men very similar with their fighting mentality. Dez Parker took some professional MMA fights against incredibly experienced opposition, and Carl Booth has done just that as well. He's only fought as a professional in England once, and that's tonight here at FCC. He's fought in Scandinavia, he's fought in the Middle East. Booth did a really good job of using the strikes to force the grip of Parker open, and he had to use that hand to defend. Back now as Parker looks to go to the back again, and this time he makes the takedown pay. Immediately you see Booth though framing, hands on the mat. He's going to look to walk his back all the way up the cage. Booth trying to grab the neck. Oh, he's under the neck here if he'd get the rotation. High elbow Marcellitine from Carl Booth. That looked tight from Booth, but Parker survives. It's Booth on top now. And let's see what damage the Bomber can do from top position. Big elbows from Cole Booth. Parker taking shots here, Josh.
You see Parker doing the right thing, trying to get in as deep as possible on that half guard. But he needs to scramble here completely on the defensive, and it was actually a good bit of jiu-jitsu from Booth that forced the issue.
Booth desperately trying to find an opening here for a significant strike. Just chipping away at Dez Parker.
You can bet a lot of weight is on that knee. He's trying to make himself as heavy as possible, and those short elbows on that frame, so dangerous.
Chipping away now is Cole Booth, looking to create some space to generate some power and land one of those big bombs that earned him his nickname, the Bomber, across a storied amateur career.
Good work getting the hips in. So oppressive in this top position, and Parker absolutely on the defensive here at the end of this first round.
Parker's face getting really marked up here, Josh.
Well, credit to him, he's staying in it, he's trying to work, going to deep half now, but he's almost given up a high mount.
Big punches and elbows for Booth. And if there's one thing that's never been doubted about Dez Parker, it's his toughness.
Absolutely
and that
not.
certainly has been called up here at FCC 13. That Parker took a significant amount of elbow strikes towards the end of that round, but Cole Booth also spent a lot of that round on the defensive.
I mean, look, Parker had some really good stuff in the first half of the round. He kept trying for that takedown, It was good control against the cage, it was good pressure. He earned that position to the back, but you know, at one point it turned on a dime for him, and it was that high elbow guillotine from Cole Booth that completely changed the complexion of this fight.
It's going to be very interesting to see how these two come out in round two. You've got to think Booth is going to be taking advantage of the fact that he's going to be back in the center of the cage without Parker stuck to him. He's going to be in striking range, and he's going to try and get one of those big hooks off.
Yeah, and we saw how quickly Parker wanted to close the distance and really just wanted to run forward and shut Booth down against the cage as quick as possible. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Booth does to maintain his range and circle out of any incoming motions from Dez Parker.
The cage door is locked. We're about to get underway with round two. Dez Parker, Cole Booth, and there's a number of lumps and bumps on the face of Dez Parker. A couple of trophies to take home, and then Booth with a nice kick to the ribs there.
I've got to say, if I was Booth, I probably wouldn't bother with certainly with the high kicks. I mean, why give up the opportunity for your opponent to close the distance when you know that right now you're definitely the fresher of the two fighters, as well as probably having the better hands.
And there are the hooks from Booth, throwing up a head kick, looking for the finish is Cole Booth. Great combination, stung him with a left hook there. A fine tradition of Nottingham Thai boxers in MMA. I mean, Cole Booth, the latest in a long line of those.
It's easier said than done, but Dez Parker can't afford to go on the defensive and just back away in a straight line when Booth comes forward.
And I wonder if Booth's got a question mark kick in his arsenal that he can lift up over the guard of Parker and bring down across the side of the face. The straight up high kick not landing cleanly for him so far. Let's see if he can switch it up.
Oh, good kick up the open side this time.
Parker, though, doing what he does best now. I mean, sticking to Booth against the cage.
That rush attack is really good for him. It does exactly what he wants. It closes the distance without him taking any damage whatsoever. Again, he's got body control. He's got head position. But let's see what he can do with it this time.
Parker probably grateful of a bit of respite from getting pot-shotted there by Cole Booth, grinding his man up against the fence. Booth, though, trying to stay active and turn his way out. Not having much success so far, though, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, there he goes with the whizzer on the right arm this time, but he has a couple of times reached over the back of the head of Parker. We saw it in the first round. We saw it briefly just before he secured that overhook there, and that allows Parker that route straight to the back.
Trying to get the tie clinch. Here's Booth. Oh, nice uppercut. Sharp as you like there from the Bomber. And given the experience differential between these two men. Carl Booth giving a really, really good account of himself tonight here, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Dez Parker has got a good position. He's got a high underhook. He had the head position on the chin. But I just wonder how much of a gas tank he's got left to put in the explosion needed to put Booth on the floor. And then what's more, he's got to keep him there.
Parker at least racking up minutes against the cage side here. Can be very interesting to see how the judges scored the first round, Josh. Both men had their moments.
It's unquestionably going to Carl Booth. Unquestionably. I mean, I know there was a lot of forward pressure from Dez Parker, but when you tally up the damage in dominant positions, it's only going one way in that first round.
And we've called time here. I believe it was, I think, an errant finger or thumb to the eye of Dez Parker. And we're going to get the doctor in here.
What this is going to do is give Parker some time to recover.
I'd like to see Dez Parker take it to a neutral corner here, and I think that's exactly what the referee's going to do. And our physician here at cage side is going to have a look at Dez Parker and try and see if I can do a bit of lip reading here. He's saying there's something wrong with his eye, and of course if Parker states that he's unable to see properly out of his eye, that'll be all she wrote for this one. Of course, safety paramount here at full contact contender. But it'd be a shame to see this fight end like this, Josh.
Yeah, it certainly would be. But it looks like they've decided there's nothing wrong as of yet, and a little bit of a breather for Dez Parker.
And a door supervisor bolts the FCC cage door closed. Parker back in the game, but takes a high kick to start things off, and Booth already headhunting here, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, he knows that he's got the momentum in this fight. He knows that he's got the power in his hands. Doesn't want to take any risks, but at the same time, now would be a good time to pile on that pressure.
Such power in the strikes of Carl Booth. Everything he lands is significant. Stinging leg kicks, clubbing hooks.
I wonder if he is starting to get a little bit tired now, though. And Parker connects again. He's in on that single.
And again, taking a series of short, chopping shots from Carl Booth. You have to give it to Booth. He's not resting on his laurels at any point when he's fighting these rush attacks off from Dez Parker. He's striking with every opportunity he gets.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've really liked about the defensive wrestling of Carl Booth, is the shots to force the other guy to do something else with his hands. I mean, it's a huge part of defensive wrestling against the cage, and Booth has been doing that very well throughout this match.
Dez Parker's corner, trying to give their man a bit of an uplift. Parker doggedly chasing this single leg takedown, but again taking shots from Booth.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I'm not quite sure what takedown he has in his mind he's going to go for off this single, because he picks the leg up, but then he lifts his head up with it, and it breaks the connection, and it means he hasn't really got any explosion to turn the corner, and, you know, for a traditional single, or to drag the leg across the front of Carl Booth. I mean, here he'd be better off switching to a double, especially when his head goes between the legs of Carl Booth.
It looks like Parker's cut as well here, Josh. Would not surprise me with the number of short elbows and punches that Booth has been throwing down.
Not
Final
at all.
10 seconds of the round, and it looks like we'll see a third here.
And this is actually a really interesting round to score, because the vast majority of that round was forward pressure from Dez Parker pinning Booth against the cage. So, you know, but then again, he didn't land any damage, and there was some good return fire from Carl Booth in that clinch. So a really tough one, I think, for the judges to render at least a clean decision there.
You have to think, though, in terms of the overall fight, it's Dez Parker that really needs to do something. It's Parker that needs to do something different in round 3. He's got to assert his dominance if he wants to be in with a shout of this one on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we look at momentum, which way the fight is swinging, and on top of that, who seems as though they have the potential to be dominant in winning the fight, or winning it decisively, it's all Carl Booth at the moment. You know, we haven't seen any significant action from Dez Parker that suggests he's going to be able to finish this fight.
Parker has to get the takedown. He has to get his ground and pound game going. He has to get a submission attack on the go here if he is to beat Carl Booth. Booth always has the power and the precision to finish a fight with one shot. Third and final round, Brad Wharton, Josh Palmer calling the action. There's been plenty of it so far tonight here at FCC 13 and plenty more still to come. 5 more minutes of Booth versus Parker.
Booth needs some linear motion here. He's got to circle out. Doesn't want to get backed up at the cage, or we're in for some more of the grinding style of Dez Parker.
That's perhaps one area in which Thai and kickboxers are disadvantaged in the cage. They don't have the corners to back their opponents in and cut them off.
Inside crescent kick, very nice indeed. So here we go again. He's looking to pick the leg up really high and kick out the standing foot. He's got a lot deeper on this progression than he has at any point. But Booth just able to stamp the leg free.
Oh, man. Huge shots there.
I'm going to say I got covered in sweat off that right hook.
Probably spent more money on dry cleaning in my years as an MMA commentator than I have ever before. And we'll be sending Adam Tay the bill this time.
So Parker looking to connect again on this single leg. I think what would serve Dez Parker really well in these positions, because he does a great job of running the guy up against the fence and keeping pressure, is he needs some takedown combinations. He needs to go to something else, which is what we see him do there. So definitely combination wrestling, something that's going to be of benefit to him. But you see Booth immediately posting and looking to stand back up.
Booth taking some deep breaths there, it looks like. I'm not sure if that's just the way he's holding his gum shield or if he really is getting a little bit tired in there. And we've seen Parker go deep before. Turning into a real battle of attrition up against the cage. And Josh, much like you said, between rounds, it's very much like the second round here. It's forward pressure from Parker. It's Booth defending. It's Booth landing the short chopping, but not really damaging shots.
We've seen that Booth can be dangerous with a guillotine if he gets the grip that he likes.
Parker trying to join his hands behind the legs of Booth. He'll need to get a bit lower if he's going to effect a takedown from here.
Now, I know we were saying that Parker is the one who's not managing to get the takedown, but at the same time, Carl Booth hasn't actually been able to create the space, turn his man around, and get back to a striking range. So, you know, clearly there are defensive wrestling items that he can work on as well.
Just the third professional fight for Carl Booth. A long career at amateur. I believe he got into double figures as an amateur. Holds a victory over UFC fighter Leon Roberts.
Right now I'd love to see a crossface from Carl Booth. Just there's plenty of space for him to sneak that forearm in front of the face of Dez Parker and really crank him around.
Parker trying to keep his head as tight as possible, not give Booth any room to launch these short shots. And surprised we've not seen a break from the referee so far. We seem to have been in a stalemate position for some time, but both guys are working. Booth again trying to create a little bit of distance here, Josh.
Well, he'd be served by a little bit of explosion in each of those moments. You know, get that underhook and drive it deep and really try and turn your man explosively.
And eventually the break comes and Booth just shrugging his man off a little bit there. Bit of attitude from Carl Booth. Oh, and a big left hook there from Booth. He's going to go for the finish here, surely.
He's had a couple of very strong leg kicks have come.
Parker looking like he's been in a real battle here, but again able to bulldoze his man into the fence.
The forward pressure on his drive, whilst, you know, not that explosive, is very consistent and very powerful. And it is pressure against the cage, so I'm really curious to see how this is one of those fights where when you judge MMA, you're like, oh no, don't let it go to a decision, because it's going to be a tough one any way you slice it.
Well, it's such a cliche, Josh, but it really is why we're glad we're not judges and we're glad we're calling the action rather than scoring it this evening.
So that's better from Carl Booth. He's turned the position, but he just lets himself get put back again.
Final few moments of this round. 10 seconds to go. And the judges will be required to make a decision here, Josh.
I can make an argument, you know, I can make an argument either way. So those last two, I mean, the first round unquestionably is going to Carl Booth. The second half of that first round, he had all the pressure and all the damage. But yeah, the grinding style of Dez Parker, where he's just forward pressure up against the cage. Okay, no, not that many significant actions, but it was control for most of the fight.
And Booth happy with his performance, as he should be, win or lose. Just his third professional fight, his first on UK soil, and he's facing a guy in Dez Parker, 7 professional fights, a long and storied amateur career himself, fought for amateur titles here on FCC. Both men with a bright future. Parker has competed in Russia as a professional already. Booth competing Scandinavia. And Dez Parker saying that he feels he got beaten up a bit there. Talking to us over here at the commentary position, we're going to throw it to Jonathan Millard with the official result.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 hard-fought rounds, we go to our judges this evening. With a unanimous decision, your winner in the blue corner, Carl Booth. And let's cheer for his opponent. Let's hear it.